Welcome back. Welcome back. I am so glad to see you again. Today, we're going to launch right into Module 1 of creating secure passwords you can remember. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and then we will jump right into it. Here we go. Any day now. Okay. There we go. Well, I'm so glad that you made it back. I know firsthand, sometimes just getting here is a massive challenge. And so I applaud you for taking action and for coming back here today. So we are going to launch right into Module 1 of creating secure passwords you can remember. And last time in the introduction, I asked a couple of questions to make sure you know you're in the right place. So can you answer yes to any of these questions? Have you unfortunately been a victim of online fraud, maybe a scam? Do you reuse passwords? We all do it, okay? And do you have a hard time tracking your passwords, keeping them in one place all the time? Well, what I've learned in the past several years of helping people with their technology is that we all struggle with passwords. We really do. It doesn't matter if you're my 12-year-old son or you're my 76-year-old mother-in-law. We all struggle with passwords. There's so many of them. But what I've found is that if you prepare and you have a plan in advance, managing these passwords keeps you out of trouble. It keeps you from having to repair a lot, whether it's your identity, whether it's lost resources, whatever it is, it keeps you from having to repair. And so that's something that we're going to be focusing on throughout this course. You see, I want you to have a plan in place so that you are not a victim of identity theft. And I've seen it happen way too many times. So today we're going to talk about proactive password preparation. And what I want to know from you, I want you to jot this down. Tell me about how many passwords do you have? You know, many of us, we have many passwords and we're managing these on a daily basis. So many of them we probably don't even know that we do. But what I have found is that that number has actually increased 25% in the past year because we've been doing so much more online, right? And if you're a couple, chances are that your number is doubled. Well, the average person has about 100 passwords. That's right, 100. That's typically higher than most people think that they have, but it's usually 100. And one thing that I've noticed time and time again is that people use easy to guess passwords, easy to remember, easy to guess. So, and a lot of people are reusing them. And so it is not uncommon for me to see that people are using their dog's names, an old street name. People are using the same password over and over and over again because it's hard to think them up, right? Especially in the minute, in the moment when you have to reset that password. Go ahead and take a look at this and tell me, do any of these look familiar? Now, there are surprises there. There are some unusual ones there. Liverpool, for instance, is number 47. Monkey is on there. Who knows? But what I have noticed that people reuse and they use things that are simple to remember. That's one thing, and we're definitely going to be doing that. And also things that are very common, and that's what we're not going to be doing. On average, people are sharing the same password across 2.7 of their accounts. That's right. So you may be reusing a password. Now, I know when I log on to my Google account, there's a little security notice there, and it tells me that some of my account passwords may be compromised or they may be duplicated. And so I want to give you a little tip off there. You could start right there. You can also look in, say, your Safari keychain or your Apple iCloud keychain for any duplicated passwords. Now, typically what happens when your account gets hacked is that it costs money, and it is one of these things that happens sometimes without us even realizing. And what's happening with the people I'm working with is that they're ending up paying anywhere from $1,300 to $1,600 to file losses, reclaim accounts in damages, or just because their credit card has been theft or stolen. And when someone does steal your information, the first place they go is they go to your debit card. They go to try to get a new credit card in your name with your information. And now over the past couple of years, I have experienced many of my clients trying to use a password manager. Do you use one? Have you found one that works for you? Sometimes they start off well and then you can't continue using them. And another thing that a lot of people use is the Safari or the iCloud keychain that should sync passwords across all of your various devices and websites. But that doesn't always work. And so you have to reset or re-enter the password again. And within your Google account, there is a password manager, and it does work well. But I do want you to take note that you can't always use your Google Password Manager across all your devices, right? What happens when you come across an app that you're trying to log into? You don't have your Google Password Manager there. You don't have your Safari keychain right there. And so what I've found is that some of these password managers or password vaults have gaps. Yes, just like this picture. In fact, when I showed it to my daughter, she said, "Why do you have to show that?" And in our home, I have got a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old. And you know what? I am in this world of gaps right now with their Invisalign braces. Yes, indeed, I am. This is a part of my daily reality. And it's a part of your reality because your accounts and your passwords may have gaps in them, right? And with those gaps, things get through, like hackers. And I put this slide in here because when you don't have a system in place, it feels a lot like you've got kids at different schools. This is now also my reality. My daughter is starting high school. My son is starting middle school. They're going to be at two schools, two different calendars. They're not in the same district. It's going to be cuckoo, right? And it's like a rodeo for me right now, trying to stay on top of what the schedules are going to be like. But I'm starting to put my plan in place. I'm starting to work out carpools. I'm making sure that the early release days, and there's so many of them, are on my calendar. So I'm not taken by surprise, because what I really want to be able to do with them is prepare in advance for their various scheduling issues. And with you, help to teach you how to prepare in advance so that you can create secure passwords you can remember. And now in this module here, I really want to impart to you that you are in charge, okay? You're in charge. You're the boss. You call the shots, not those accounts, but you do. And it's reminding me occasionally of Downton Abbey. I'm sure many of you watched Downton Abbey. I know I did. And each one of these characters, they have their own name, right? You know them by name. You know what their role is. You know what they do in the household. And with your passwords, I want you to be able to know them by name, for you to know them inside and out. There'll be no confusion about whether or not this is the password for this account. I want you to know them by name. I want you to know that you're in charge. Now, I just love this picture because Cora, yes, Cora. Did I have that wrong? Cora here, she's giving us that look, right? Yes, she knows she's in charge. It may look like he's in charge, but she's really in charge. And in the same way, I want you to be the boss of your passwords. You call the shots. You know them by name. You've got a system. You've got this. I know that you can do this because I have taught this to hundreds, thousands of my clients. And they've been able to do it, and I've practiced on them. And so here's what I want you to do for your homework assignment. I want you to gather up your passwords. Maybe they're on Post-its. Maybe they're in an old password book. Maybe they're on notepads. I want you to gather them all up because we're going to need them all in one place for module 2. All right. Because we're going to be breaking down different passwords and talking about the different types of passwords. And that is what we're going to be talking about in module 2. There we go. So gather them all up, meet me back here, and let's dive into it. All right. I'll see you then.